Hello, my name is Mr. Norman and I'm going to be talking to you about music options at Key Stage 4. Before I talk more about what's involved in each of our courses at Key Stage 4, I want to talk about music in general, what it is and why you would choose to study it. So music is an art, it's a language, it's a mathematical process and it's a science. It's highly academic, it's well respected, it's deeply analytical and it's creative and expressive. In fact, it's one of the very few activities you ever do where you simultaneously use every part of your brain at the same time. Research has actually shown that students who study music perform better in other areas of the curriculum. In a world where we hear news stories about more students getting top grades, universities are increasingly looking to what else students can offer. In fact, in a survey of students at the UK's top 5 ranking universities, with the exception of the compulsory subjects, maths, English and science, more students have performing arts GCSEs than any other category. Former US President Bill Clinton said that music is about communication, creativity and cooperation. By studying music in school, students have the opportunity to build on these skills, enrich their lives and experience the world from a new perspective. He actually said, "I don't think I would have become president if it were not for my school music programme." And he's talking there about the confidence that helped to develop in him as a young man, about the communication skills that it helped him to develop, and about the ability to work with other people. I believe that music helps young people to develop many of the skills that they need to be successful in life. In music, we learn to be self-motivated and to challenge ourselves. When we're rehearsing performance, we work for and we expect perfection. We pay fine attention to detail. We analyse both visually and orally. We consider the opinions and arguments of others and we develop confidence. We present our own opinions. We develop the ability to work collaboratively with other people, particularly when we're working in an ensemble. We develop leadership skills. We develop presentation and performance skills. We develop language skills and we develop our written and communication skills. That's all very nice, but you can't get a real job in music, can you? Well, did you know that the UK music industry makes on average £8.8 million every hour? And in fact, for the last 5 years, the rate of growth in the music industry has outpaced the rest of the UK economy. Some of the jobs in the music industry include performance, artist management and promotion, professional composers, and in fact there's big money to be made at the moment in video game composition, arrangers, live sound and studio engineers, record producers, music and media producers, radio and digital media production, events management, venue management, publishing, musical journalism, music law and copyright, and teaching. Who'd want to do that? So at Key Stage 4, we offer 2 courses. We offer a GCSE and a BTEC. The GCSE is perhaps the more traditional choice and perhaps the route that we recommend for the majority of our students. It's a study of music and how music works. It's 40% exam and 60% coursework. The BTEC, on the other hand, is a vocational course. It's a course that studies the skills needed to succeed in the music industry. It's 40% externally assessed coursework and 60% internally assessed coursework. You might ask, why do we offer 2 different courses? Well, while there is actually much overlap between the 2 courses, and both groups will likely be taught in the same class, the BTEC offers a different approach to assessment with more focus on internal assessment and coursework style assessment. It also offers students the opportunity to focus more on a music tech route and doesn't require students to perform. They can instead choose to focus on production and composition. So I'm going to tell you more now about GCSE music. So at GCSE, we learn about the key features of different styles of music and we learn how musical elements work within them. And in fact, the image above is Mr. Norman's Guide to Musical Genres. We travel through time and explore music from different periods. We apply the concepts that we've learned to create our own music and to write songs and into our performance. We compose music using computer software, we develop our performance skills, and we develop an understanding of music theory. Based on everything that we study in the course, students have to then complete an hour and a half listening and appraising exam. In that, they listen to different pieces of music and they're asked questions about what they can hear and how those musical elements are used. They also have to demonstrate their knowledge of some set works that we study. Students for coursework have to complete 2 performances, 1 solo performance and 1 ensemble performance. And together they need to constitute a minimum of 4 minutes. Likewise, students have to complete 2 compositions, 1 free composition and 1 that's to a brief that the exam board sets. So this is an example of the type of question that might come up in section A of the listening and appraising exam. You're played some pieces of unfamiliar music and you have to answer the associated questions. Here we're asked, what is the time signature for this excerpt, i.e. how many beats are there in a bar? How many bars are there before the voice enters? And we're asked to identify 3 features of instrumentation, i.e. what instruments can be here, and the texture used in this excerpt that's typical of popular music. Here's the example.
Billy Ray was a preacher's son, and when his daddy would visit, he'd come along. When they gathered around and started talking, Cousin Billy would take me walking. Out through the backyard we go walking. Then he looked into my eyes. Lord knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
So following up on that, the time signature was 4/4, i.e. there were 4 beats in the bar. There were also 4 bars before the voice entered. And then features of instrumentation and texture. So we could talk about the fact that we've got electric guitars. We could talk about some of the effects used on those electric guitars. We could talk about the use of the drum kit, emphasizing beats 1 and 3. We could talk about the vocal line and the vocal harmonies in thirds. We could talk about the texture, which is melody and accompaniment. The next question, we are given 3 snippets of score and we're asked to identify for the same piece of music which of the following best fits the instrumental melody heard after the vocal section. And this is really kind of teaching students how to read that score, how to spot the difference between them. And the answer, just for those who are interested, is C. As you would expect at GCSE, a major part of the course is performing, and that constitutes 30% of the final grade. For that, students need to record and send to the exam board 1 example of a solo performance, that's them performing with a backing track or an accompanist, and 1 example of an ensemble performance, a group performance. For those performances, students need to be performing at around a grade 3 to 5 standard. If you're unsure if you're capable of that or whether you're at that standard, please do speak to your teacher, they'll happily advise you. I've put together just some short examples of some past work here by some of our students. So to start off with, we've got solo performances. We've got Eleanor on the piano, Natasha on the flute, Karen on the guitar, and Katie singing. Now we've got some examples of some of our ensemble performances. An ensemble is a group of 3 or more players recorded live. We're going to start with Al on the drums, followed by Jess singing, Felix singing, Saffron playing the piano, and finally Fiona singing as well.
Thought of all the stupid things I've done, and I never meant to cause you trouble, and only know you love her when you let her go. Only know you've been high when you're feeling low. Only hit the road when you're missing home. Only know you love her when you let her go. Oh, you only need the light when it's burning low. Only miss the sun when it starts to snow. Only know you love her when you let her go. Only know you've been high when you're feeling low. Only hit the road when you're missing home. Only know you love her when you let her go. And you let her go.
The final part of the GCSE is composition, writing your own music. That's perhaps the part that we spend the longest on. It's perhaps the skill that we need to develop most in students. But it is also something that we're really successful at. And actually, if I go back to the last set of GCSE exams that were actually set, then our composition grades were 20% higher than the national average. And that's something we're really skilled at helping students to develop. For this, again, they have to produce 2 compositions. One is a free composition. It can be in any style that they like. The second, again, it can be in any style, but it has to respond in some way to a brief that's set by the exam board. And every year the exam board issues about 5 briefs that students can choose from. Some example of these I've included just to my left, and that's that students could compose a theme tune for a new crime drama series, or another one was to compose a song to be included in a new musical. Again, I've put together some example of some students' work. So we're going to start by hearing the introduction to a piece by Jessica, and then Alison, and then both of those two are actually an example of a crime drama theme. And then finally, a free piece of composition, a song written by Charlotte.
Feeling emotions that I have never felt before. Trying to see what's in your heart, but it's fading slowly. You're royal to my blood, curing my symptoms. Though your melody, you fix them. Straight from the stars, where your heart met mine, dreams entwined. Minds of ice, we're still frozen. 'Cause even though it's complicated, explaining it is hard. The feeling of us emotionally scarred, and I can't see the light. I'm holding on tight. The overwritten stars of our lullaby still haunt me, and they haunt you. The overwritten stars of our lullaby, I'm still missing you.
One of the questions commonly asked by students is whether they need to sing or play an instrument for GCSE. And ultimately, because there's that performance element to the course, the answer is yes. You do need to, by the end of the course, be able to sing or perform an instrument to a grade 3 standard or above, ideally up to grade 5. Please see your teacher if you're unsure whether you feel you'd be able to achieve that standard. Also, it's really helpful if students have some knowledge of music theory, and there's a series of books called Music is Fun, it's a lie of course, that I'd recommend students have a look at, and a great website called musictheory.net that students can use to help to prepare themselves for the course. Next we have BTEC music. So next I'm going to talk about BTEC music. I'm not going to spend as long going through this course because we're still with our first cohort going through this course. There are 3 units in the course. They're all coursework units. Unit 1 is exploring music products and styles. Unit 2, exploring music skills development, and Unit 3, responding to a commercial music brief. The first 2 are internally assessed and moderated by the exam board, and then the third unit is entirely externally assessed by the exam board. I think it's really important to understand how students are expected to work at BTEC music and how they are assessed. They will spend time, as I said, as one class with the GCSE, studying different skills, different areas of the course, developing knowledge, and then from that they will be issued a brief with a clear task. It outlines the resources that they need and the deadlines that students must meet. They must work independently in order to achieve that work. Students must hand in their work by the given deadline, and once it's received, they get 1 set of feedback. Students will then have a set amount of time to make alterations before they hand in their final assessment. Students are awarded a level 1 pass, merit or distinction, or a level 2 pass, merit or distinction for each task and for each unit. Attainment in each unit is then tallied up to calculate the final grade. As you may have noticed on the last slide, the grading is slightly different to GCSE. We talk at BTEC in terms of pass, merit or distinction. And in terms of the final grades that students can achieve, they can achieve a level 2 distinction star, which is equivalent to 8.5 at GCSE, a distinction which is equivalent to 7 at GCSE, a merit which is 5.5 at GCSE, and a pass which is 4, the old C level. You can also achieve a level 1 distinction, which is the equivalent to a grade 3, merit, a level 1 merit, which is equivalent to grade 2, and a level 1 pass, which is grade 1.25. So Unit 1 is called Exploring Music Products and Styles, and it's very similar to the listening and appraising part of GCSE. Students have to study different styles of music, different types of music products, key composers, how technologies impacted the development of those styles, and analyse set works. The difference is that rather than then sitting an exam on that, they have to present their findings through creating an online blog. And they have to, within that online blog, they have to demonstrate their knowledge of each of the key aspects of each of those styles. They also have to apply the key techniques that they've studied in each of those styles to demonstrate a short composition or musical work or idea within that style. The second unit that students have to complete is called Music Skills Development, and it's all about developing those skills that are relevant to being successful in the music industry. Students have to demonstrate their personal development in 2 of the musical disciplines below, so performance, music creation, which is composition, and production, recording skills. And within that they undertake a series of skills audits, and they also put together a portfolio of work over time that shows their development. They also have to learn how to create professional media to promote themselves and their work in a way that's relevant to today's music industry, particularly using electronic mediums such as YouTube and SoundCloud. The final unit in BTEC is Unit 3, Responding to a Commercial Music Brief. This is a little bit like the set brief compositions at GCSE. Students are set a commercial music brief which they have to respond to under exam conditions through either working as a composer, a performer, or working on production. Just to give you an example, the sample brief for this was that there was a festival putting together a new CD, and it would include arrangements of well-known songs, but they had to be in certain styles. So for example, I think you had dubstep, ska, blues, and there was something else, and you had to take well-known songs, for example Bee Gees' Staying Alive, and do it in a ska arrangement or a blues arrangement or something like that, and they're all styles that students have studied in preparation for that. You then have to present the final project along with set planning and evaluation documentation to the exam board, which again is completed under examination conditions. And in fact, that exam period goes on for something like 10 weeks, and students have set times within that where they have to respond to that brief. And that is all then sent to the exam board and externally assessed. One of the things to think about when making your course choice is the possible routes for progression, i.e. where do you go next? And both courses are accepted by most schools and colleges, including Fitz-Waymark. At Fitz-Waymark we offer A-level music as well as a range of other A-levels and BTEC qualifications. It's worth saying that many grammar schools won't recognise the BTEC qualification, but it's also worth saying that if college is the route you're thinking of taking, many of those colleges for music offer BTEC level 3 qualifications. However, they will accept both GCSE and BTEC. Finally, if you do have any questions or you'd like some advice or you're unsure which course is right for you, please do speak to your music teacher. They'll be happy to advise you. Alternatively, please feel free to email me. My email address is pnorman@fitzwaymark.com. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen.